Hello, everybody, and welcome back for our halftime show segment here, breaking down Golden Gardens Academy versus TSM Academy in what I think, Rafa, you might have said it, that was the most exciting one-sided game that we've ever seen in all of Academy, because Golden Guardians, they had to work for it a little bit. All right, maybe it was Joshi.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joshi.
All right, real quick.
Credit Josh, man.
Before we go too far into our halftime show, I wanted to
Okay.
address Twitch chat real quick, because I see all of you in Twitch chat saying that Viper did the bare minimum you should be expecting from a Viper OTP. You can go F off, because that guy was freaking impressive. Watching him play all this, that is not something you see at the pro level. That is not something that happens. Be excited for Academy players, you guys. They're good. They're showing what they can do, and if you aren't excited, what are you doing here?
I love it. I love it. Thank you for your defense, Joshi. That was appreciated and needed for Viper right there. But with that said, we actually do have our halftime show that we like to do to break down that game in a little more fun, lighthearted way. So
there we go.
Cue the music, everybody, because we got another round of Pixel Perfect. We played this yesterday with our casters Magical and Cubby, but now I got Rafa and Joshi on the cast with us. So if you haven't seen this game before, I've taken screenshots of the last game to essentially summarize what happened in that last game, tell the story of it through some grainy images. We got 16-bit, 8-bit, and 1-bit categories, all of which have 8-point breakdown. So if production can pull that up, in case this is your first time seeing the show, you can earn 1 point for 16-bit correct answer, 2 points for an 8-bit correct answer, and 3 points for a 1-bit correct answer right there. It's going up in point value, but down in the bits. So my friend
True. I feel like Mark and I are always super close on this one, so I think it's going to come down to who goes first.
Rafa's been getting a lot of points on Pixel Perfect as of late, so I actually am going to give it to Rafa first. You're up on the docket. Do you want a 16-bit?
Don't even ask me.
All right, yeah.
Come on.
Okay, you always go for the 1-bits every single time. So for the first 1-bit category, again, worth 3 points here. Rafa, what is the context of this super grainy 1-bit image worth 3 points?
Wow.
I made them hard this time because everybody was messing with me, saying they're too easy.
They were too easy for the most part.
What is going on in this image?
You know what? Okay, this is my guess. This is Viper's Riven flashing over the event horizon and solo killing Ryoma.
You think it's Viper flashing over the event horizon and killing Ryoma? While that is a good guess, it is incorrect. Joshi, you have a chance to steal for 3 points. What is this context?
I think, so the big clue for me is the level 1 that we're seeing right there. I'm pretty confident this is when Chime forces Instinct's flash at the very beginning of the game.
Damn it!
Okay, you think it's a flash force. You guys need to play some more League of Legends from behind, because you both got that wrong. That is the image in the bottom right corner when you get a gold bounty.
Wow.
This was TSM getting a massive gold bounty and influx of gold.
See, the thing is, hang on.
Oh,
let's get
that's what that is. Okay.
We don't really play League with the objective bounties.
Yeah,
right?
We only win.
The two of you are always ahead, so clearly you've never experienced that. All right, nobody got points for the first round. I told you I'm making them harder.
That's a tough one. That was...
I'm making them harder.
I thought that was a 1 for sure.
No,
I had no idea what that was. Okay.
So 0-0 on the board. Joshi, you're up next. So that was your chance to steal, but what is your category that you want to lean into?
Let's get the 1-bit once again,
Another
man.
1-bit.
We got to go directly into it.
I just need to reverse these orders, because I always start with the 16 bits in the early game, and then 1-bit... no. Not to give you too many hints. All right.
That's a hint.
Another
Okay.
Why did I
1-bit. Get that hint? Hello?
Rafa, you played this game like 5 times. I do the same thing every time. All right, Joshi. What is the context of this image that you will see on your screen now?
Is that not the Nexus exploding?
Is that your official guess?
Well, hold on. No.
That's very broad as a guess.
My expectation is that this is the top lane inhibitor going down for Golden Gardens. They go up to the top side of the map while people are retreating, and I think it was Ryoma who ends up taking the objectives down while TSM is retreating.
Good guess. Let's see. That is not correct, Joshi, but I like where your head's at. Rafa, you have a chance to steal for 3 points. What do you think?
So Josh is correct that this is the top lane inhibitor that Golden Guardians are trying to take. However, in this moment, this is when TSM go full ape mode. And, well, not ape mode.
I
Sicko
think
mode?
that's appropriate. They go Unga Bunga, baby. They go Unga
Well,
Bunga.
okay,
Yeah, Rafa, let's go. That's absolutely when this was. That was Viper getting a kill. Kaedwa also
Yeah,
getting
that's
another
what
kill. They defended the. I was like out of my seat when this happened because this was like right
was sick.
after they got all those
They go
bounties.
berserk. That's what I was
They go
looking
berserk.
for.
They
Yeah.
lose the middle inhib, but they
Yeah.
save the top inhib. It was actually pretty close. I thought maybe TSM could mount the comeback. I was rooting
Look,
for him.
Again, this is the closest stomp I have ever casted, man. I was
Right?
actually like constantly sitting like, no way, is TSM going to be bringing this one back? Ultimately, the answer was no, but I was on my seat just like, is there actual hope? But yeah, it is unfortunately Rafa.
3
who
points
ends
to
up getting that
Rafa.
one.
3 points to Rafa, and Rafa's up
Oh
next.
my gosh.
I assume you're just going for an 8-bit. I'm not even going to ask you anymore at this point.
Yeah.
Let's just get through this one. We are still waiting for Pick and Ban to get going, so that is, of course, why we are reliving what happened in that game 1. So, Rafa, in game 1, what is the context of this image that is about to pop up on your screen worth 2 points in the 8-bit category? As we
Let's see
wait
how
for it to come
grainy
up.
this one
This
is.
one's not too bad. This one more just looks silly to me.
I think this is the first dragon that TSM pick up. They just sneak it while Iconic is on the other side of the
All right,
map.
let's take a look. Survey says, ding, 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 ding. Absolutely. I just thought it looked fun. Well, first of all, this is correct. The TSM, this is what stopped the perfect game from Golden Guardians. Also, it just looks like he's got a butt. If we go back, like look at this. Look at this.
I thought
Dragon's
Josh
got
was the
back.
only one that was out of pocket today. Holy moly. Angus thinking about dragon butts on stream. Jeez.
I'm just saying. I mean, look, you're looking at the same image as I am. Joshi. That means you're up next.
Respect.
Do you want to go for 8-bit or do you want to go for 60-bit? As Rafa currently have 5 points.
We gotta try and claw something back, but even at this point, I think if I get every single point from here on out, I can't.
you're
I don't think
doomed.
I can win.
You're doomed.
It's over, but I can still play for pride.
You
Let's
can
get the other
still
8
play
bit.
for pride, Joshi. For the pride of all the color casters out there, even though your memory is clearly worse than Rafa's right now. I have the image up, so whenever we take a look at it, tell me the context of what this 8-bit 2-point screenshot is. Ooh, have I stumped you? Have I stumped
wait.
you already?
Okay. I'm pretty confident that this is when. Yeah, this is when Riven or Viper flashes the event horizon and just solo kills
There we
right on them.
go.
All
There
right,
we
let's
go.
take a look. Yeah, Joshi had already guessed this one earlier. I mean, sorry, Rafa had already. Why do I keep getting your names mixed up? Rafa had guessed this one earlier.
It's because we're dressed the same.
You
bro.
are.
We're
Did
doing
you
the
do
same
this
drill.
because the new Batman movie comes out today? Are you cosplaying Bruce Wayne or something?
No, he told me like
no,
bomber
I-
jackets, and I was just like, let's throw a tie in there.
Yeah, Josh literally messaged me. He's like, "Yo, let's class it up a bit." I
Dylan.
was like, "Okay,
All right, I
I'm
like
down."
it.
Feeling
Well, that means that we
sexy.
only have 16-bit categories. It's 2 points for Joshi, 5 points for Rafa. So, again, it's impossible for Joshi to win right now. Let's just go through these really fast then. Rafa, I'm going to give you the
Damn.
first one on the 16-bit category. What is the context of this image that you are seeing on your screen right now?
I just want to note, I feel like Golden Guardians right now in Josh's TSM, where it's hopeless
Oh.
for him to come back, but he's still
Oh.
making
Try
an
it.
effort, which
Fair
I-
enough.
Try
he's
it.
still trying. Oh, this was the disastrous 2v1 against Tony Top in the top lane. Tony Top played this fantastically. He had a huge minion wave built up, and Hyper and Viper just did not have enough damage through their cooldowns to lock down Tony Top.
Absolutely. That is
Yep,
exactly
yep.
what this instance was. This was TSM making the counter map play because Iconic had just gotten first blood during this play, and the fact that TSM don't pull it off, and specifically Tony Top plays this so well on the Gwen, that is like the start of the Golden Guardians snowball. Like Tony Top surviving here was pretty crucial for Golden Guardians in this game. So props to Tony Top in those high pressure situations to survive there.
Can you imagine if Viper had actually like picked up that kill?
Right?
I don't wanna
Completely different
overextend
game.
and say that they win the game, but even closer is a stomp at that point.
All right. Well, I'm hearing that we're ready for champ select, so we're gonna real fast, lightning
can't even-
speed, do the
Okay,
last
okay,
one.
okay.
Joshi, what is this? Real quick.
Is this when Chime comes mid lane and they kill?
Yep, that's
Yep, kill
exactly what he
Kaido.
does.
Yeah.
Your son was there too, but just the position was a little off. Vyar Cage was strong enough. So let's
How do
see
you
what
walk
TSM
through?
Academy want to do coming back into game number 2 here because they fought tooth and nail in that stomp. The Golden Guardians Academy are looking really good. Pick and Ban is ready, so I'm not going to waste any more time. Rafa, Joshi, take it away.
Bye, Kangas.
I took it. Thanks, Kangas.
It's like,
Next time, maybe I'll tell King is to like get a football or
Yeah.
something, and then he can just like chuck it, and then I'll catch it all the way here in Utah while he's in California.
I'm just imagining
That
he
should work,
throws the
right?
football and it just goes like, you just keep going.
It's like, oh, I'm waiting for the toss, Kangas. I haven't received
Bounce.
it yet. Well, TSM will be taken to the blue side in our second game of this series. Now, the way that Golden Guardians Academy absolutely stomped them, politely saying, TSM still showed signs of life, which I think is something that TSM as a squad can look to build upon in the second draft.
Yeah, I definitely think that the biggest issue for them during that game, at least compositionally, was that none of their champions could really deal with Ryomen's Veigar, right? It was a situation where we already said that they were going to have to look for these flanks, and I even said that Viper can't go head on, and he proved me wrong on that one by just flashing over the cage and saying, I don't care about this dumb ability, but it is something that it makes it very, very difficult for TSM to actually get a lot of these fights started, and I criticize a lot of teams for not having primary engage. They had that, they just didn't have a way to use it. So I'm expecting to see Viger being a little bit more prioritized, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was TSM's third ban in order to open up a lot more of the map. Or maybe KI Dwell wants to play himself.
So far, none of the picks have really changed from last draft, or the bans, I should say, have changed from the last draft. And TSM actively banning the Zeri on blue side. Does this mean that they'll get their hands on the Jinx this time around?
I mean, it looks like the same kind of trade that we've been seeing over and over again. It's either Jinx for Zeri or Jinx for Aphelios, and now Aphelios is the only one of these top tier AD carries that a lot of people are looking towards. And that kind of means that people are going to be pushed a little bit down towards the Ashe and Varus, which are still very strong AD carries that Kaori was talking about earlier in the day. I'm expecting that to be the pickup for Instinct, since that was what they were going with last time around. And they really don't want to give it over to Stixxay because he's had some great games on that champion too.
Yeah. I imagine that...
Ooh, the frog.
Ooh, okay. I like the awareness from TSM. And even though that the Aphelios is, the only top-tier marksman available in this draft, they do not take away their eyes from the fact that Tahm Kench is still available to pick up, which was banned by Golden Guardians last time. And so Golden Guardians, they will be able to pick up the Aphelios, but imagine when you look back at Instinct's champion pool and kind of his past coming from Mirage Esports and, of course, 100 Thieves next, these are not the only champions that he can play.
Was
There's
Instinct
still
the
more that
Senna
he
player?
can dig deep. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I wonder if that's going to be coming through. I've been saying for a while that I think Senna is underpicked. And if you already have the Tahm Kench, it's not a bad place to go with it because you can give Yurson a lot of gold and you still have an opportunity to play through that. But so far, all of the champions that we've been seeing are fairly standard. The Varus, again, another fairly standard pick, just a little bit less common than all of the other AD carries that have already been banned. You have the supportive ability to throw out the ultimate and be the primary engage. You have the ability to do a lot of damage from long range with lethality, or you can still go with on-hit style build. So it's a very versatile champion that they have already picked over for TSM. And Viego, again, very versatile. We've seen this matchup a lot earlier in the season where Viego usually just tries to out-farm Xin Zhao in a very non-interactive way, and it's on Iconic to try and push the tempo and actually get some of these ganks going through so that Viego doesn't become a monster later in the game.
And Viego is not a champion that, it can't necessarily skirmish in the early game, but his overall power level compared to the likes of a Xin Zhao or a Lee Sin, as we've seen be kind of the kings of early game skirmishing, is a little bit better. But if you get over that small window, then Viego can just take over a game in its own right. Interesting thing here, I feel like Chime is on a mission to just play every single support champion that is just available in the pool.
Yeah.
He has played a ton of enchanters, a ton of engages. He's even played like Blitzcrank as well, which is just kind of out there. Not necessarily an engage champion, but just a pick champion overall.
I mean, you know why the Rel is getting picked here instead of like the Nautilus or the Liliana Mark? There's a very specific interaction that makes Rel really good in this game. You know what it is?
No.
Rel's Q eats Tahm Kench's shield. right? So suddenly
the
it means
shield
that,
breaker.
yeah, Yurson is considerably less tanky because he can't pop that great health in order to get that big shield as long as Chime has his Q. It's actually something that I called out yesterday in our game where I said, hey, I hope we get a replay of this so I can talk about one of the things that Raul was doing. That was one of them. They were just holding the Q to make sure that Tahm Kench never could actually use the shield in order to get their way out. But Golden Guardians, very standard composition, taking off all the boxes. You have your wave clear, you have your DPS, you have a way to get started. Now it's a little bit flash reliant for Rel, but if you actually get that team fight started, it's going to go very well if you actually get the engage coming up. And so TSM looking to play a very, very long range system. Likely lethality Varus with an AP Corki, meaning that Golden Guardians going to be kept really hard at bay in this next upcoming game. And we'll see if Golden Guardians can build enough of a lead, they can override the range disadvantage that they're going to be playing in.
If they get through the early game, thanks to Iconic's early game agency acting as a bridge, you have powerful late game scaling champions already. Victor, Aphelios, powerful standard backline composition for the team fighting 5-5s later on. Over on the flip side, TSM, they're not only matching the scaling with this Corki, but now they have a potential assassin threat in Viper's Akali. It can't be the blind Riven because you gotta wait for certain counter picks. And with Tony Top, since the Gwen has been taken off the table, Renekton is his choice of counter.
Yep. And there's a conversation to be had here. Kelsey and I, again, we had a long conversation about whether or not Tahm Kench could serve as primary engage. And in this game, I'd argue he's still mostly secondary engage, where you want somebody else to start it up, and then Tahm Kench goes in as the lines are disrupted and chaos begins. And I think this game is going to be not necessarily the tank that goes first, but it's going to be Instinct throwing out the Chain of Corruption and the package coming through from Corki that are going to be the real ways that TSM are going to be looking to get fights started. And there's no Vigar that they have to be worried about running through. There's a Gravity Field, which is almost as good, but nowhere near as immediate of an effect. And so I actually feel like TSM's composition this time doesn't have the same kind of massive issues like it had in the first game. And we saw that Viper got the better of a lot of the members of Golden Guardians. We'll see if that's something that's going to continue, because now that he's on the Akali, he has a lot of threat against Golden Guardians backline.
Yeah, big thing also for the side of TSM is that they have a slight, it's not a huge range advantage, but it's a slight range advantage in the poke department. Both Instinct and Kaidoa with their rockets and piercing arrows respectively can, if they are the first ones to the objective points, Golden Guardians is going to have a very tough time being able to enter in because they have to brute force their way through that poke and through those battle lines. And if they come through a choke point, that is where, as Yurson, you can look for those abyssal dives, because if they step too close, then it's like, oh man, you're about to get eaten by a catfish. And the rest of Golden Guardians have to really play out knowing their range limits on these champions.
Yeah. And oftentimes the thing that Stixay or that Aphelios has to worry about in these kind of games is the fact that he is going to be at a really tough position because he can't just auto attack Instinct or Kaidoa. They're not going to be giving him opportunities to do that. So he's going to have to Gale Force forward. He's going to have to flash in order to get these fights going. But that's something we've been seeing not just from Stixay. We've been seeing it from a lot of our AD carries. But Stixay is definitely one of these guys who, as we've already talked about multiple times, has been playing super aggressively. He is looking to make the plays as an AD carry, and it gives them a lot of opportunities to be really, really aggressive. And I love the fact, a couple things happening right now. Chime already looking to potentially go over the wall, but the one other thing I want to talk about before we get too deep into this game is, for a long time, people were playing the Victor Corki matchup too safely as the Victor, right? You need to be forcing Corki to be going for a Hex Drinker, and if there's one player who I think is going to be able to aggressively do that and look for these solo kills, it's Ryoma. We've seen him do this to Corkis already throughout the season, and if he can put Kaidoa on the back foot, it means that the wake up that has been pushed back with the 2 minutes on the package is going to be even harder for TSM to play around.
And we literally saw Ryoma at the top of our pre-show for this particular series solo kill Jimian on 100 Thieves with this exact matchup, Victor into Corki. So Ryoma, no stranger to this task that you are setting him up for, Joshi. As we take to the battle lines, Golden Guardians now setting up in their respective lanes. Iconic starting on the top side of the map will be pathing towards the bottom side. I don't imagine that Iconic strays away from this path unless he sees that there is a volatile opportunity in the top lane, as whenever you play towards a Renekton and you get that early push, there's always the potential for a 3-wave crash dive.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to remember that both these champions, like, Renekton's level 1 is not very impressive, but Akali's is worse, right? It takes more than half of your resource to get anything done. I also love watching Ryoma just walk up knowing that there's nothing left for Kaidwa to do in terms of damage and just go for that last auto attack on the back side, making sure he gets the maximum in every single one of these trading opportunities. But TSM, Yurson is very strong early on in this game with this Tahm Kench, and there's still an opportunity. Look how far back Stixxay has to play a lot of this lane, just because as long as Yurson has brush control, you never know when he's just going to be bursting out and hitting you.
And now they have level 2, so Stixxay and Chime, if they weren't respecting it before, they definitely have to now. Chime just running up the mount, making sure that the next trade can be as strong as possible now that they are both level 2. Already, both Hyper and Iconic still on the bottom side of the map. And Iconic is pathing towards, gonna be there first before Hyper. Instinct and Yurson have to be careful how they play this. The flash forward from Chime. Instinct reacting with a flash forward, but the Glacial Augment Keystone providing so much utility slows him down, and it's first blood for Stixxay.
It's a similar play that's going to be getting Golden Guardian's advantages in Game 1 and Game 2. Iconic comes down, finds this first gank, and this time there was no ward for TSM to ward them off of the idea that they were in danger. But Iconic also going to be spending a lot of time not doing his own camps. And remember at the very beginning, Mark, when we said that it was on Iconic to get these ganks started so that Hyper doesn't just get to free farm with impunity the entire time? He's already done that. That first gank has gone well, and there's already pressure being put onto TSM to respond.
Taking absolute advantage of the early window and the agency that he has over something like a Viego. Hyper does benefit off of a camp advantage, but at the cost of his laners falling, burning both summoner spells on Instinct, one on Yurson, and First Blood being awarded to Stixxay.
Yeah, and again, we always talk about this. It's one thing to get the flash, it's another thing entirely to punish it. So Golden Guardians now have painted a target on both Instinct and Yurson. This is an old Tahm Kench. He doesn't get his Devour until level 6. So I would not be surprised if we saw Iconic clear top to bottom, or just maybe even go for a gank right away. Look at this. Chime is already around, but you know, they are kind of showing that Zinjo is here. You can, in fact, see that link between Rel and whoever else. So going to be Iconic looking to back away, but he's kind of faking it out, right? If you stick around long enough, maybe TSM lack object permanence.
Instinct and Yurson actually just pathing away from it. They know that this wave is doomed for them. It's frozen right outside of Stixxay's tower, and with no summoner spells, they cannot safely walk up. So instead, they're just... Okay. I thought they were going to walk mid lane and do some crazy stuff. I was ready for it. It's like, hey, why farm bot lane until Stixxay pushes out the wave? You know, maybe you can share experience, but...
Yeah.
You know, Instinct and Yurson just roaming around, getting some vision control, holding hands, you know, just making sure that no one gets caught out.
Yeah. I also want to give some props over to Kaidwa, right? We talked about him coming into the team a little bit earlier and not having the most impressive showing so far in his academy debut, but he's pushing around Ryoma, right, in a matchup that is not supposed to be particularly good for Corki early on in the game, and that's a tall order that he's already succeeding on. It's not normal for Corki's to bully victors. It's not normal for people to bully around Ryoma, and Kaidwa is doing both at the same time. So it's a big advantage already coming through for the mid lane. And by big advantage, I mean he's not behind, which is what you should normally be expecting in this matchup. So I love the fact that TSM are looking a lot better this time around, and they haven't given over another opportunity for them to snowball the bottom lane.
It is very brutal, though, for Instinct and Yurson. They're playing with great patience, but they're losing out on so much resources right now. Zoned off of XP, zoned off of gold. Stixxay and Chime now have a natural level advantage thanks to how far they've been able to bleed and starve Instinct and Yurson out of this lane. And because of the priority now that they have, Iconic can start up the Dragon. Meanwhile, top side of the map, Tony Top goes for the all-in, doesn't necessarily take out Viper or burn any summoner spells, but it will force him away, and it's a huge wave that's about to crash.
Yeah, that feels like a poke ult more than anything, right? I don't think Tony Top was ever expecting to get that kill, but if you can use the ult to get yourself a good back timing, sometimes that's worth it. So I love the fact that Tony is taking control of this lane, as should be expected in Renekton versus Akali. But again, the story of this game right now is Stixxay versus Instinct. Look how far ahead he is. You already called it out. Double the CS as 6.5 minutes, 26 to 55. And as they look to push this wave in, Hyper might try and make something happen, but he immediately leaves, not giving over any vision on where he is.
I mean, it's pretty damn hard to make this gank happen when the opposing bot lane is the same level as you. that just makes a jungler feel uncomfortable about the encounter. And if Iconic shows up, that 3v3 is so doomed. And you know what? Ryoma's just going to say,
Hello.
I know I'm walking over wards, but we're going to force the issue anyway because we have the numbers advantage. No matter what the situation, no matter what the cause. And even though Golden Guardians do not get a chance to press their advantage forward for the dive, the pressure that is being impended on TSM overall is felt.
Great stuff coming through. Also, credit to Ryoma, he has gotten Kaidoa to build the Hex Drinker, so going to be pushing back the Muramana as well as the Ludens for a little while, so Corky's wake up is a little bit later, but he is going to be safe. So, good stuff coming out there for both mid laners. It has been a very even state of affairs there, but again, we're kind of going back to what we were seeing yesterday, Mark, a much quieter series of games. Not a whole lot of early action this time around after that first gank, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Instinct and Yurson can't do much, right? They are down a full level. Chime is going to be hitting level 6 well before Yurson, maybe even before Yurson hits level 5, and Tom Kench normally relies on having these early game advantages that he just doesn't have.
And it's all thanks to Iconic syncing up with Chime to make that play possible, right? Chime and Styx say, while they're getting pushed in aggressively, they coordinated saying, you know what, we have an advantage where you can clear 3 camps and get here before Hyper can match on the Viego. And they take that opportunity without any hesitation whatsoever. Iconic beelines for it as soon as he finishes the Gromp. And then from that point on, yes, Iconic's sacrifice is that he is down, what, 2-3 camps? But Stixxay is up practically double the CS of Instinct.
Yeah, it's been really impressive to see how Iconic has been playing towards Stixxay, who has been one of these power members, and as you said, also looking to get his way back towards LCS. Now, Yurson shouldn't be in too much trouble, but he's not going to be able to clear out this vision, right? Yeah, it looks like Chime is going to create enough pressure to keep the Frog off the wards, and that just means that Chime gets to walk in. They have a good idea that there's no wards here in Stixxay, and I mean, as he clears this out, it means that we are going to continue seeing a pretty massive gold lead. Now, this is a spoiler because I know everybody here is dying to know about the Samsung Fast 5, but we are going to have to talk about it. One of the things we track is the fastest to 10k gold for AD carries. Stixxay is 2 minutes faster than the next closest based off of the way that he was able to play yesterday and build this huge, huge gold lead right off the bat. But other than that, he was already close to topping that by consistently finding a lot of kills and going for all these plays early in the game.
Golden Guardian's going to try this dive once again. They know that Hyper's on the top side of the map. They have the numbers advantage. Instinct flashing away, paying respect, but it's a teleport response from Viper, and he is level 8. He has perfect execution. Chime is too far forward this time, and Viper is going to look to clean things up. There's the perfect execution into the Shuriken backflip.
Viper!
Forward. It's the triple kill for Viper, and TSM answer back all over the map.
Are we watching the same teams, Mark? TSM just come alive, triple kill, going over to Viper's Akali. Tony Top going to get his consolation prize of 2 plates here, but that is so much gold already going over to TSM, and immediately the script is flipped. But this is, it feels like a very telegraphed play, right? This is not the first time Golden Guardians have tried to make this happen, but Chime goes so far forward in ways that Iconic and Stixxay can't follow up, and it puts them in a spot where the teleport that you can't normally teleport anywhere, you can still teleport to turrets, and Viper is able to turn around this dive beautifully, perfectly executing every member of Golden Guardians. And now we saw what he could do when he was behind. What does he do when he's ahead?
TSM, this is the team that is 10th in the standings against the #1 team in Academy. And yes, a powerful opener from Golden Guardians, from Iconic and Chime, has pretty much starved Instinct out for the first few minutes of the game. But this type of response in the mid-game, thanks to both of the solo laners of Viper and Kaidoa, who, linking up with Hyper, gets the kill on the Ryoma at the same time, has now put TSM back in control.
Yeah, this feels like, you know, I often call it Fed guy, but Kaidoa wants to, you know, keep one of these Fed guys further down. Stixxay is still very strong, very far ahead of where he's supposed to be. And with the number of plates that they've been able to pick up, is going to be a threat in this game. And as we start looking at this first dragon, looks like Kaidoa, oh, he still does have the package, but it's a situation where Golden Guardians should still feel strong on the bottom half of the map because Viper can't join, and he's got all of the gold for TSM.
The Rift Herald spawns. It cannot nurture it further to ensure that they can get more damage onto the mid lane turrets, so it's just plates going over to Kaidoa and Hyper. But for TSM, they are a solid 1.5k gold lead ahead at 12 minutes. This is nothing to write home about. TSM have not won the game because Golden Guardians demonstrated a 4,000 gold lead before 10 minutes in game 1. And even then, they were ahead 10,000 gold, and TSM still fought back. So do not count out Golden Guardians Academy. Now that they're the ones on the back foot slightly through the top side of the map, you know that they're not going to be letting this passively go along. They're going to be fighting TSM with every single breath that they have.
Yeah, but Mark, I want to put this a little bit in perspective, right? The way that TSM have played before. We're past the 12-minute mark, and they are currently up about 1,600 gold. A little bit more than that. Typically, by the time they hit the 10-minute mark, they're down about 400. By the time they hit the 14-minute mark, they're down about 700. So this is a huge lead coming out from them than what we normally see from TSM. And it comes from a place where I wasn't necessarily expecting, because we've been seeing Viper over and over. He's had some really good games, but most of the time he's also there and he's trying to do his best, but he's not often enabled to make these really big plays and just go for these kind of aggression across the board. And I'm just really excited to see that Viper is kind of having a glow up this late in the season.
You have to remember where Viper came from before in the past 2 teams in 2021. Immortals Academy and No Org. And he was paired with the same jungler every single time in Anda, someone who was playing proactively towards him on the top side of the map. They were coordinating 3-wave dives. They were coordinating complete shutout performances, giving Viper counterpick in every single matchup that they could, allowing Viper to play things like Kalista and Vayne top. Viper doesn't get the same type of luxury treatment anymore on this TSM squad. He and Hyper have not had the same type of synergy that he and Anda had, and so it's been far more difficult for Viper to shine and perform as well as he can be on this squad, which is why TSM overall has just, this whole team, the story has been just not them being able to synergize as well as the other teams in the league. Like Golden Guardians Academy on the flip side, this team has been so damn good as a 5-unit squad. So the fact that these 2 opposing teams are flipped like this with the gold lead and TSM side is remarkable.
Yeah. And I want to start looking at, we've been talking a lot throughout the season about kind of our top 3 teams. We'll get back to that.
Wow, Chain of Corruptions into Abyssal Dive. Yurson and Instinct answer back for the starvation they experienced early on in the game. Stixxay goes down, and TSM now have control of the bottom side of the map.
And Kelsey, I know you're feeling vindicated. This was your whole argument. As long as Tahm Kench has brush control, he is primary engaged, right? You don't have enough time to react to that, and the beautiful layering of crowd control between Instinct and Yurson means that there's no play for Stixxay. Couldn't even flash if he had it up. So beautiful kill coming through as you actually get to the level 9 mark. And look at this, Kaidwa also pushing on Ryoma.
No, there's just going to be solo kills across the entire map. Kaidwa takes down Ryoma. What is happening? TSM, they've finally woken up.
A total collapse across the board as TSM are toppling every single part of the map. The only person that hasn't given up a death quite yet for Golden Guardians is Tony Top, and you know that Viper's fiending for it every single moment. TSM are looking so good, Mark. Like, if this was the way that they were playing last game, it would have been super close. And TSM, they've kind of started building up a reputation as like a top-of-the-table killer. They are starting to slay every single king along their way. They just need to close it out, and that's something that we know Golden Guardians makes it hard to do.
And now Golden Guardians on the flip side, a team that is first in the standings that has been dominating the split for so long. This is now an opportunity for them to take a step back and think, oh my gosh, guys, we're down and we're behind a team that we thought that we should be favored in the matchup. This is a time where they have to go back to respecting TSM as a formidable team and say, okay, when we're behind at this point in the game against any other team, how do we normally play out? And this is where Golden Guardians get a chance to flex their ability to show mental fortitude and come back.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? One of the things that we were prepared to talk about was how do players find their wins. And typically for Golden Guardians, it's because Stixxay and Ryoma are running fools over, right? They are getting their own leads, but neither of them have been able to... Stixxay, to his credit, did the first 10 minutes of that incredibly well. But since then, has been punished. He's not been able to continue building up that lead. Ryoma has gotten pushed around by Kaidwa, right? It's really impressive to see how TSM have turned the traditional win conditions for Golden Guardians on their head.
TSM Still 3,000 gold ahead of Golden Guardians, 6 kills to 1. The one thing that Golden Guardians can thank is that because of the early pressure that Iconic and Chime laid upon Yurson and Instinct and giving complete control over to Stixxay in the bottom lane for the first 10 minutes, as you mentioned, is that they picked up the first 2 dragons of the game. The third one is going to be coming up in the next 15 seconds. And right now, Golden Guardians have taken the necessary measures to prepare themselves and make sure that they are the first ones to the pit.
But I think Kaidwa, yeah, he's got the package. You see, he makes that stop right outside the fountain, and then he's zooming his way over, and he has the Hex Gates.
The Golden Guardians want to force the opportunity before Kaidwa gets in range. Iconic flashing forward for the Crescent Guard. Tony Top also in range, but not quite enough to lock down anyone. And Kaidwa, he sees some members from Golden Guardians. Might be overextended. If they step forward, they will face the wrath of his package. Kaidwa just forcing them away. And TSM managed to zone off Golden Guardians. And this should be the third dragon of the game going over to them as well.
And this is a very standard game of League of Legends coming through from TSM, right? They control things. They get the gold lead. And now they are not worried about the fact that Golden Guardians already have the first 2 dragons because they can force them away with Corki's package. Now, something that is important to note. This is a minor mistake coming out from TSM, but something that will pay off dividends potentially later is this package was used late.
Oh, and Ryoma gets punted right into the tower. Kaidwa, another solo kill for him in this game.
Used late, but not used ineffectively, right? He's still able to find the solo kill. And that's really, really impressive. Ryoma is really struggling now as Kaidwa finding his footing in this game. But again, in 5 minutes and 4.5 minutes mark, I want to pay attention. Kaidwa will not have the package when the dragon actually spawns, and that could be an opportunity for Golden Guardians to make a play. Now they're already trying to look for Kaidwa. He doesn't have flash, and it looks like he's going to try and pick this up. I think he just now realizes he's in trouble.
Kaido's like, all right, well, I'm going to try to take the turret, but Magna Storm and the damage from Iconic kicks the shutdown. Viper has teleported to the play. Yurson is also here. Hyper making his way on over. Tony Top answered back with his own teleport. And it's an even numbers for numbers advantage for either team. But right now, Golden Guardians, they're seeding pressure, and Tony Top will have to give up this turret.
Yeah, we praised TSM for it last game. We got to praise Golden Guardians for it this time around. Even when behind, they're looking for opportunities to make plays. So they find that one. Also looks like some abilities were traded in the mid lane. But TSM also now taking control of the opposing side of the jungle to get another turret for themselves. And I think that they should be rather happy to take this game a little bit later, right? Viper is winning the side lane. Kaidwa and Instinct are going to be having plenty of wave clear and poke in the upcoming minutes. So you just need to kind of wait. I think they want Kaidwa's Loons to come online, and then they're going to be looking for a lot of plays. But the other thing, Mark, that we have to pay attention to, we said they have Engage. We said that it's going to be on Instinct and Yurson. Instinct hasn't been with the team a whole lot this game. That's going to be something that's going to have to change on these upcoming objectives.
Instinct just trying to farm back up and catch his way up to Stixxay, who, at this point, because the Aphelios has already pressured the Varus out of the lane so many times, thanks to the early efforts of Golden Guardians in their play, Varus is already eclipsed in terms of just late game power. Because Varus is all about, I'm going to poke you with piercing arrows, especially with this lethality build coming through. But Instinct is still going to try his damnedest, and because he has engaged potential with that Chain of Corruption, as you already mentioned, as long as he is grouping with the team, you can still find plays with TSM, and Golden Guardians just making sure that they're the first ones to group up because they know how powerful TSM can be once all 5 are together.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that Golden Guardians are, again, still firing back a little bit. This is a turret going to be going down. We saw how diverse and how spread out the last game was in terms of where people were on the map. And this time, Rama has to teleport down in order to save this, but his team is now undermanned.
3-man. Oh, does Yurson just look for this? They're trying to choke them out of the choke point. Yurson flashing forward, looks for the tongue lash slow into the knock up onto Chime. Chime's the one that gets knocked up, but Viper's in there, and now TSM have the collapse.
Oh my
God. Top is teleported, but it's too late. Viper has already eviscerated the members of Golden Guardians. Now Tony Top will just arrive to the party, has flash. He's going to slice and dice his way through, but just stays a little too long, and TSM with 4 members gone. Baron is their next play.
We just said Ryoma's not there, and now TSM taking advantage of it. I love the way that Viper is navigating these backline fights. He's constantly going in and out and waiting for his moment, and TSM rewarding themselves with the Baron off of that. Viper having a huge glow up in both Game 1 and Game 2. We're going to take another look at it. Watch how Yurson just goes in by forcing people into this choke point. He gets to be the primary engage, but then Viper, he goes in and then he waits, right? He's not able to instantly get to the backline, but by the time he does, there is no way out for Stixxay. It's just a matter of running down Tony Top after that. So his ability to move in and understand when he is a threat and when he's not is making Viper so scary.
11-2 in Game 2. If you had told me that this would be TSM scorer line, I'd think you were crazy. I would have expected this would have been Golden Guardians just running it back and getting ready for another sweep. But it is TSM off of the back of their solo laners, Kaidoa and Viper, just playing patiently, playing with reservation, and farming up while the 10-minute destruction of Instinct and Yurson was being experienced. But also props to Instinct and Yurson that they only gave up one death collectively. As soon as that play happened, they recognized that they were in a bad position, and now Golden Guardians have to find a way to answer back. They've caught out Viper. No flash available. Perfect execution. No way. He actually gets out, and TSM are going to take this advantage now that they have 4 members dedicated to the mid lane push.
Yeah, let's remind people that this is the first place team versus the last place team. TSM's miracle run, getting this win over Golden Guardians, keeps it alive. They can still play for Proving Grounds, but Iconic trying to find his way in.
Oh, the Crescent Guard flash is going to be a huge engage from Golden Guardians, but do they have enough firepower in the backline? And the answer is no. Viper is teleported. Even without perfect execution, he still has enough damage to take out the front line, and the rest of Golden Guardians scatter. The inhibitor will fall.
Dude, the way that Yurson saved Instinct in that fight was beautiful, and that means that they're going to be able to have this inhibitor, and they still have the AD carry to hit these structures. They're trying to end at 5v3.
Nexus turrets, only 2 stand in line against TSM. Golden Guardians, they don't have any frontline members that can stand and face TSM. It is just up to Ryoma. Throws out the damage with the Chaos Storm. Trying to flash forward.
Oh, gets one.
Gets blown up. That is 1 for Golden Guardians, and they prevent TSM from closing out.
All right, we're going to jump to a replay as TSM looks to pick up another dragon for themselves. But the big thing here, watch Yurson eating Instinct as soon as the Crescent Guard comes through long range. Oh, we got to go back to live. We got a fight coming through. Golden Guardians trying to turn it around.
Hyper burns down the dragon. They get it, but now
Viper
who can get out? Viper, definitely not one of them. Instinct, the other person that will fall. And Golden Guardians now have an opportunity. They are 5 members. They can maybe get some damage back on the Rift.
But what can they even pick up? Corki's got so much wave clear on this map, Mark, and it looks like it's not going to be a whole lot. They don't have the waves. They don't have anything that's pushing. They don't have anything hitting the enemy turret. So TSM, they still pick up the dragon. They lose a little bit of gold, but it's going to be something where they have to be very happy because they're the scaling team. And Kaidoa, he's got the package. They're only 3v5, but might be willing to make something happen.
Ryoma doesn't have teleport quite yet. Teleport Unleash is now available, but if you just blow up Stixxay, you can have an opportunity. Chime is caught out. Package separates the rest of Golden Guardians. They cannot walk through this choke point. They're walking right on top of the package. Look at Stixxay's HP. He just loses half of his HP thanks to the package. And now he has to play this one out cautiously. He cannot walk up for free because Kaidoa is pumping out the artillery and the rockets. He's burning down Iconic. Thanks to the Crescent Guard, it will keep him alive. The rest of Golden Guardians are able to safely escort their jungle out of harm's way. Ryoma answers back Chaos Storm, but a beautiful Devour keeps Kaidoa alive and topped off. The engage forward from Hyper finds Iconic. He gets the resets. He engages on the Stixxay, but Hyper cleans up. Thanks to Kaidoa answering back on the Stixxay. Hyper does fall, but now TSM had the numbers advantage to push forward into the base.
Yeah, Corki's out of ammo, plus he wants to go back and heal, so he will be coming right on back. This should be the end of the game. TSM's miracle run starts now.
7,000 gold lead, but it is off the back of TSM. Viper going once again into the backline, doing the thing that he did all game long, assassinating the backline, and TSM with an unlikely victory against the top team in Academy. TSM will take down Golden Guardians.
Look, if this isn't proof that Academy is hyped, that the bottom team can beat the top team in such a dominant fashion, I don't know what else you can be asking for. This was a hype series, the closest stomp we ever saw. coming with a turnaround and a stomp in the other direction. I love the fact that Academy always has these kinds of storylines. Viper trying to get himself into an MVP candidate spot. If he continues playing like that, he's going to shoot up into everybody's shortlist right away.
There's still one more week, and it's a super week. So it's 3 games and 3 matches left overall for TSM to play. If they are able to rekindle this type of play that we just saw against Golden Guardians, remember, this is the top team in Academy. And if you're able to take them down, then realistically, there should be no other team that should be as difficult or more difficult for you to take down for TSM.
Yeah, I love it, right? TSM, again, they're going to be playing 3 teams in the blob. I think it's Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, and I want to say Immortals is the 3rd one, but we'll double check that. The point is, these are all teams that they can absolutely beat. They've gone 1-1 with some of them before in the past. This is a situation where TSM, while they're still far down the standings, are incredibly still not out of contention. I want to see this team go to Proving Grounds, and if they can continue playing like this, we're going to see them there. Viper looked incredible. Kaidwa had a fantastic game too, and of course, just watching them adapt immediately after what was a horrible game 1. The resiliency is crazy.
And Golden Guardians, too. I mean, and credits to them, of course. We had expectations for them to clean house on this matchup. And to be fair, in game 1, they did it so in a pretty dominant fashion. But this is a nice reality check to show that, hey, not even the lowest team in the standings is something that, cannot, harm you. This is a team that you still have to respect in its own right. And for that, Golden Guardians now, they have a long weekend ahead of them preparing for Super Week. And I think this is just a chance for them to recognize, you know what? We need to take every team seriously and not let our guard down. But of course, when we come back over a break, Kangas will be on the desk here with TSM for an interview.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back for our post-series interview. I have TSM Academy's bot laner in Instinct. Nice haircut, by the way. I do like the style you're sporting right now. Congratulations on the win there. Now, after a pretty crushing game number one, first off, you didn't stop fighting in game number one, and the team almost pushed into an inhibitor, but then you came back and just dominated that game too. Where does TSM Academy get this fighting spirit from? Do you have any to spare for us on the broadcast?
I think we just have our mindsets. We just don't give up. Whatever happens in the last game, we just move on and keep playing, because every game is different.
Of course, every single game you can have that opportunity to come back and bounce back, and you have been taking advantage of that incredibly throughout the second round robin, because of course you get a chance to play every team twice in best of two start academy. The first round robin, TSM were at the bottom of the standings, but now you're actually 5-7 in your record in the second round robin, already surpassing your wins from that first round robin. So where do you credit this recent success to?
I think we just got a lot of help from our coaches, Ganasso and Peter. They just put in a lot of work on helping us understand the game more and what we should do, like in our early games and mid games. They just help us push and help us as a team to improve.
Sure.
And now we just have to be consistent and play our game.
And the game that TSM's been playing has been very impressive so far. Hyper and Viper in particular have incredible performances. You even had that really impressive chain of corruption out of Stixay, who's been dodging everybody lately. So congratulations on that. But it's not just about yourself and, of course, the top half of the map for TSM Academy. You've had a couple different supports you've laned with, both Yursan and Shenyu. So what have you learned as a player playing with both of them?
I think each support have their own playstyle. I'm not sure what to say about the question, but
sure,
they just have their own playstyle, and we just kind of follow whatever they want to do.
Okay, so both of them are kind of shot callers on the team, whichever one's playing in the roster.
But
okay,
I have been learning a lot from playing from both supports through laning phase and mid game, and it's been fun.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, of course, that's when you talk about learning from coaches, I oftentimes also think that playing with multiple different players, you're going to learn different ways of approaching the game as well. So it's cool to hear that. But of course, the team's also welcomed Kaidua onto the Academy roster. So what's it been like playing with him this week?
We just started playing with him, so I didn't expect much. But then he got like 4 solo kills this game, and I was really surprised. He just popped off and solo carried this game.
It was a fantastic performance and a big turnaround from the last game as well. I mean, the two games just looked like different teams. It was crazy. Now, of course, the Miracle Run is still possible for TSM Academy, even though you are currently in 10th place. You're not that many games behind the 6th place spot, so you could auto-qualify into Proving Grounds. So I want to give you the podium, give a message out to all the fans out there that will be cheering you on your Miracle Run. What do you have to say for them?
I think just keep supporting us no matter where we are at the standings. I think we'll be a good team by the end of this split or during Proving Grounds, and we'll beat most of the teams by then if we keep it together and consistent.
If you have performances like this still in the bank, man, I got a lot of high hopes for TSM Academy going forward. Thank you so much, Instinct, for coming on and chatting with us after that win. And we're going to send it to a short break before we're back with more Academy action.